Coach will have a brief opening statement, and we'll take questions.
Good to see everybody. It's been a little bit. Excited to be back in Lane Stadium. It's been nearly a month, I believe. But Thursday night, and sold-out crowd, ESPN, national television, Orange Effect, a lot to be excited. Great opponent in BC, highly regarded head coach. A lot to be excited about for Thursday. ESPN, Thursday night football, Virginia Tech go hand in hand. Back when I was a young coach, watching the Hokies on Thursday night was one of my favorite things to do. Our guys are excited. Our coaches are excited. I'm appreciative of our fan base. We've sold out every home game this season, which I don't think that's been done in quite some time. But, everybody's fired up. It's been a good week of practice. Again, a little bit of a different week as far as scheduling and things like that. But, 37th appearance on ESPN Thursday Night Football. So it speaks volumes. And this series is tied 3-3 on Thursday night against Boston College. So it's a rubber match and get on top of this thing. I'll take some questions.
I'll start with Andy.
I know open weeks is usually a time where you guys can do some self-study on stuff. Are there any areas that you kind of wanted to drill down on during the extra time?
Yeah, there's, as you dive into the film and the data, nowadays with your analytics crew, which we have an army of guys in there that work on this stuff every week. So you're getting feedback on a weekly basis of things where you have some tendencies, some things where you haven't been efficient. But a couple extra days to kind of dive into it helps. And you have the time in practice to isolate those areas. I'm not going to get into particularly what they were, but to isolate those areas and spend a little extra time on them. So it is valuable.
Boston College from last year, I think their rushing defense has jumped up quite a bit. What have you seen for the improvement there, and how much more of a challenge is that trying to run the ball against them this year?
Yeah, they've been very physical defensively. I think their front seven. They've got good linebacker play right now. They got a stout D-line. They've got a very active edge rusher. To be honest, throw game, he's been exceptional, but he makes plays in the run game. Makes guys miss, minus yardage plays. And then they've got a safety, number 20, that runs around and is an extra hat in the run game. So I think they're sound. I think they're physical. They tackle well. It'll be challenging. I think as much as we respected Stanford's run defense, this group is, as good or better.
Brent, you faced a lot of the same faces on offense for Boston College last year. Different scheme. Does it help that you kind of know the tendencies of the players, even though the scheme is different?
Yeah, the familiarity with these guys, particularly with the quarterback and some of these guys, the running back, number 5. I mean, a bunch of these O-linemen are back from last year. So there's, that certainly helps. But Coach OBrien, he's an offensive guy, always done a nice job wherever he's been schematically with what they do. And they do a lot. I mean, these guys motion and shift as much as we do. There's a ton of pre-snap stuff. And then they've got a variety of play selections going on, run game in particular. So we got our hands full. It was good to have an extra couple of days for these guys.
You and Bill O'Brien ever cross paths, whether it be on the football field or recruiting?
I've run into him recruiting, but certainly ton of respect for him. We followed Coach OBrien at Penn State, and so we have a lot of common acquaintances and that speak volumes about him and the work that he did, in his 2 years in State College. So ton of respect. He's had a ton of success. He's doing a nice job with this Boston College team. I think they look much improved.
Other questions for Coach? Tammy?
Caleb Spencer's coming in here later. We asked you about him after the Stanford game. What have you liked out of what he's been able to bring at the star position, and really having someone who can come along and really give a lot of rest for Keontae and bring production at that position?
Yeah, Caleb is he's one of those defensive players that just throws his body around. You know, he hunts the ball. He's got good instincts. He's still, developing technically for the position. But he plays hard. He hustles. He's got a nose for it. He plays physical. So I got a lot of respect for the way he's playing. He's got to continue to, play in the framework and make fewer mistakes. But he's proven that, he's coachable. He makes improvements, and he's getting better each week right now.
We've seen him blitz quite a bit, and he's gotten to the quarterback in effective plays. Is that an aspect of the game that you really liked out of him, especially being able to be disruptive coming off the edge?
Absolutely. When you blitz a guy, you want him to make something happen back there. And I think he's hard to block at times. As I mentioned, he's quick, and he can be a problem for backs and protection. But we got to be able to get the quarterback on the ground a little bit better. Not just him, but when we do get home. Again, he's a guy that is really coming into his own. I think back half of this season, as he's gained more comfort at the position and understanding of our structure, I think we'll continue to see improvement from him.
Back in the room, Brooke.
Coach, after the bye last year, it was a bit of a turning point for the season. How did you guys approach it this year? And do you feel like you guys improve after the bye because it's like splitting a season in half almost and you can turn the page?
Yeah, I think any bye week you want to, maximize what you can get from it. We certainly pulled our schedule out from last year. What did we do immediately following the previous game, and how did we structure practices, meetings? When was the off time? A lot of planning, a lot of preparation into it. You want to get the extra work, but you also want to get guys recovered and feeling better, rested up a little bit. So it's a day-to-day discussion, each and every morning in the staff meeting. What does this need to look like? Where are we at? The guys have handled it well. The coaches have handled it well. So hopefully, the plan is one that gives us the opportunity to play our best, particularly against a good team.
You go right side of the room.
Coach, with the team currently at 3-3, what's kind of been your message to the players throughout the week for this game, but also in terms of the long game, in terms of seeing a bowl game eligibility, in terms of being able to succeed the rest of the season?
Yeah, we don't talk about anything beyond this game. So we're talking, what do we need to do to be 1-0, to beat Boston College? We did talk a lot about the tradition and the rivalry with BC. It's been a lot of good games. They have fielded some really good teams. My first game as a Virginia Tech Hokie in 1995 was against Boston College here at home. We showed some clips, Pearson Prelo, Goove, Xavier, all these guys we got on staff have made plays, J.C. Price against this group. So we pulled up some of that old film and, just to make sure they understand, this is a big game, particularly Thursday night here at home.
Let's go David and then Andy.
Yanez has had 3 straight games with TFL and 2 straight games with a sack. What kind of impact, looking back at these last 2-3 games, have you really seen from him just getting to the quarterback and getting in the backfield?
Yeah, I think what you said, I think he's made some impact plays. He's played pretty well all year, but, those signature plays that, really impact a series and can stop a drive. That's been the noticeable difference to me the last couple of weeks. He practices really hard. He practices well. Again, here's a guy that, first year playing in our system and our structure, and, I think, he's excited about the back half of the season that he can have. I think he's feeling more and more comfortable.
A lot of talk after the Stanford game was about Caleb, but Keon had a pick too. I mean, both of those guys at that star position making plays. What have you liked about Keon and just how he's been consistent this year?
Yeah, first of all, credit to Sean Quinn, our star coach. working with both those guys. You know, Keontae was a guy that moved down from safety, and of course Caleb, you know, was a safety at Miami. A little bit of time as an overhang guy, but Sean's done a good job with those guys. You know, we've got a young guy there, Gabe Williams, that's really coming along as well. When we decide to use his 4 games, I think folks will notice him on teams and at the star position. But Keontae made a decision to come back, and you know, on the basis that he was going to be better. You know, that he had some things he needed to clean up from a technical standpoint, and he wanted to be more physical. He felt like as the year wound down last year, he was playing better, and so he wanted to kind of build on that and come out this fall and reach his potential. And I think he's on his way to doing that.
I'm not sure how much they move around their big pass rusher as a Raku. Looks like Xavier Chaplin might have a lot of one-on-one responsibilities with him. How prepared do you think Xavier is for that challenge, and what have you seen from him this year?
Yeah, I've been pleased with Xavier. He's a smart guy. He practices hard every day. He's talented. You know, he missed the ball game earlier in the year, and you know, bounced back pretty well from that, I thought. He's, you know, to me, he's one of those guys. I like what he brings in the run game, and I like what he brings in the throw game. It'll be a good matchup. You know, 6 for them is certainly talented. He's made plays against good tackles. You know, not just this year, but in the previous years. So he's a proven guy that I would think will play at the next level, and so it's a good test for Xavier or Parker, wherever he is.
And with Castellanos, their quarterback, have you noticed them using him differently this year? It looks as his pass completion's way up, maybe not running quite as bit as he did last year.
Yeah, I think there's some more efficient throws in the plan for him. There's more quick game, a lot of crossers and mesh, and you know, kind of good, clean, quick reads, and you know, it feels like sometimes it's, hey, you know, if this first read's not there, then you know, go ahead and do something with the football. But he's got a good supporting cast. They're utilizing their tight ends well. Those guys have made some plays at critical times. They're getting the backs out of the backfield more. You know, those are efficient throws generally to those guys. You know, and he's a veteran quarterback. This guy's experienced now, and you know, I think he's making, you know, pretty good decisions. He's had some tip balls and things like that ended up in interceptions, but I think he's playing better ball right now.
Raza and then Colby, and then we'll go to Dan.
Andy mentioned, you know, big pass rusher, one of the nation's leader in sacks, but the defense as a whole is top in the ACC in scoring defense. What else stands out to you about what they do defensively to restrict offenses from being as productive as they could be?
Yeah, they have it. You know, they've had a good plan. Passing situations, they run a variety of coverages, some bracket and some too high to mix in with they're really based out of a 3 deep that they play very well, kind of an NFL coverage that you see a lot on Sundays. But, you know, they're just a solid group. I think they tackle well. They don't do a whole lot, but what they do well. And I think it starts with their front. You know, it's not just the edge guy. They got an inside guy that's disruptive too, 96, that's been a problem. So I think it's a combination of being pretty good at all 3 levels. You know, they obviously trust the framework and, you know, pretty sound group.
With the unfortunate news of PJ going down, has Coney or Tyler Mason showed flashes to sort of be that third back and spell guys like Tootin and Thomas?
Yeah, Coney's, you know, he's been around here now. He's carried the ball, you know, to finish some games and things, but he's also done things in practice. He's a good, tough north-south runner. I think the guys respect him and trust him. He'll move into that 3 spot for the time being.
And specifically with the safeties of Mose Phillips and Quentin Reddish, 2 young guys back there, how have you liked them playing, sort of glimpses of the future in that room, and how have they shown?
Yeah, I've been proud of both those guys. Certainly they haven't played perfect, but you know, they are getting better each week. They're tackling well for the most part. They're covering pretty well for the most part. They communicate well together. I think Mose took a big step in that area from year 1 to year 2. And as a true freshman, you know, you look back at what Mose did for us last year in just about 400 snaps. And Quentin's got a chance to, to probably play a little bit more than that. Quentin's a guy that's playing both spots, field and boundary, which is challenging as a freshman to me. It's a testament to, just the mental ability to learn it and then apply it.
Damien and then Brooke.
Brent, you were mentioning about previous Thursday night games with Boston College. Has Xavier DB had a chance to address the team about the 07 Matt Ryan game in the rain?
They've talked about it in the staff room. I don't know if he's talked about it with the players, but I've heard him mention it a couple times this week.
Is that going to be a motivational technique, I guess, especially in the linebacker room?
Yeah, we've talked about this series and the tradition in the games with BC. We went through and talked about each of the Thursday night games and kind of told a quick narrative about each one and how they went down. And we're writing our story now, and we had to go do the things we have to do to win this thing.
And Andy asked you about the tackles. In terms of the offensive line as a whole, Tyler Bowen said last week, they're getting hat on hat better, they're protecting better. Have you seen the line get better throughout the week, especially with Bob coming in at left guard? And I guess how close is Lath to coming back?
Yeah, again, I think the O-line is improved. I think Coach Davis and Coach Crook have done a nice job. And I think, we probably we're just a consistent group early, and now I've seen some improvement each week against some pretty good folks. So I'm excited about the direction they're going. They need to take another step against this crowd. But Lath's on his way back. He was out there in full pads yesterday. Still non-contact, but he looked good, and smile on his face and working hard, and so he's on his way.
Coach, Jarikus Hairston has had some increasing minutes as each game goes on. What have you liked about how his game and how he kind of bolsters that tight end group?
Yeah, we need him to come along. He's got good size. He's got a good skill set. There's a lot of moving parts at tight end. You look at the run game, the throw game, but he's got a great attitude. He works really hard. I thought there was a couple of plays. He looked like a freshman out there against them guys, but he's the type of young man, he's going to learn from it. Coach Holt does a great job with that group. I think we've seen, the play from Benji and Harrison, and, it's time now for Jarikus to step up in the back half of the season. Let's get him some more snaps, and, he's helping us out on teams now. He's working on our punt team, and so there's more and more responsibility coming his way.
Anything else for Coach? David?
You mentioned selling out every home game. This is the first time since 2012. What does that mean to you? Obviously, you talk so much about this fan base and how great they are, but to sell out every single home game this year for the first time in over a decade, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's a testament to our fan base. I think they believe in what we're doing. They're excited about the product we're putting on the field, and obviously everybody wants to win every one of them, but I think they see the needle moving in the right direction. They appreciate transparency. They're hungry to have a winning team back in that stadium and to do big things. And we need them, and we're super appreciative as coaches and players of what they bring to our home, turf each and every time we get an opportunity to play in there. It's outstanding, and from the Hokie walk to the entrance to in-game, our student section, it's all of it. So, if I'm coming out and I'm a high school prospect, that's one of the things. There's a lot of facilities and this and that. And now NIL is certainly part of it, but one of the things that you always wanted to do as a player was compete in front of a great crowd, a passionate crowd, and we certainly have that here at Virginia Tech.
Anything else for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, everybody.